Hello everyone! Hello, I apologize if you caught those little technical issues earlier. We are good though. We are ready to start the show. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday, and obviously the show is happening today, right now. I'm so excited to bring you the final part of our holiday gift guide series that we've been doing. This week, of course, is games that are great for beginners. So if you have someone on your pick list that's, maybe not into board gaming and you want to get them into board gaming, or someone who has shown interest in board games but is intimidated by heavier titles, this is a great video for you. I'm going to tell you all about some great WizKids games that are perfect points of entry for someone who's new to board games. Or, they're also great options as last-minute gifts. You have someone you're not sure if they're into board games and you want to get them something that they might enjoy. This is also great for that. And I'm really excited to talk about these games with you today. I hope you enjoy the show. And without any further ado, let's get started. Hi Viper, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us again. So excited to have you here. Of course, the first game I'm going to talk to you all about today is called Fantasy Realms, and Fantasy Realms has been a very successful game. People love it. It's a lot of fun. It was the first game I ever played from WizKids, so I got Fantasy Realms before I ever worked for WizKids. My friend and I were at a convention, and she sat me down and she's like, "Hey, do you want to play this game Fantasy Realms?" And I said, "Yeah, it sounds okay." I wanted something new to play. We played it. I fell in love. I bought it the next day at the con. And that, was my first introduction to WizKids. And it's such a great, easy game to learn. It's really, really simple. The mechanics are so simple. On your turn, you discard a card and you draw a card. It's actually the other way around. You draw and then you discard. But you can draw from the deck in the middle of the table, or you can draw from the discard pile. So it's not just, you're always stuck drawing from the deck, and that's great because of what the goal is in the game. In Fantasy Realms, you are a fantasy ruler. You are a ruler trying to build the most powerful, mightiest kingdom in the realm, or I guess it's the most powerful realm because there's multiple realms. But the way you're looking to accomplish that is by building the perfect hand of cards. So it's ish like a deck builder, but it's not a deck builder because you're building a hand, not a deck. Excuse me. I'm losing my voice today, I don't know why. But so the way you do that is by creating combos with the cards in your hand. So what you do is there are 10 suits of cards and 3 wild cards, and within the suits, generally they will have bonuses that benefit other cards in that suit. Each card has a bonus and a penalty. So bonuses could be, adds 50 points for every other card of the same suit in your hand, adds 50 points for very specific other cards that are in the same suit in your hand, things like that. Penalty, maybe you subtract points. So it's very straightforward, it's very simple, but, it's one of those games that it's really easy to learn, but it's tough to master because you really are trying to get all of these cards and taking all the cards that you're drawing and find the best way to combine them into the ultimate hand. And that's, you discard the cards that you don't want. Maybe you're getting penalties you don't want. You discard on your turn. You can draw from the discard pile. So if somebody discards something that you really want, or that, perfect, it gives you the ultimate hand, you're able to do that in this game. And that's one of the things that I find that's really cool about it is it's got even more strategy to it, and it takes out a lot of the randomness, and a lot of the, people who are maybe interested but intimidated by board games, they don't like the randomness because they're used to the board games they played growing up, where it was a lot of randomness, it was not a lot of control over what you could do. In Fantasy Realms, you get to avoid that because you have you always are seeing what's in the discard pile, so you can always pick up from there and avoid the randomness of drawing from the deck. And I think that's really brilliant. I think that's really smart. When there are 10 cards in the discard area at any point during the game is over, and the players are going to score their hands based on the combos. Scoring in this game, there is a score pad included, but it can be daunting, and because you're trying to, calculate for... You have so many different cards in your hand, and you're trying to figure out do these suits go together? How do I put this together? But WizKids has gone ahead and created a game companion app where you can actually just input all the cards, and the player who wins will be told to you by the app. So it makes it a lot easier to do scoring. It's a lot less tedious. It also has a dictionary of all of the cards in the... I know that's not the word. A database of all the cards in the game. So you can look at them, look at all the cards, and, if you're confused about something, if you're, you're thinking, oh, I think this card does this, you can check that out right inside the app. So it makes it a lot faster, a lot easier to be able to score out the game, and takes a lot of the tedium out of the end game portion of the game. And it's not that it's a tedious game, it plays very quickly, it's very snappy, it's very, easy, fun, fast-paced. But scoring, especially if you're like me, I'm not a math person. I like to tell people that's why I have a theater degree. I don't do math. So I'm not personally a math person. Math is a problem. So for me, the scoring is a little intimidating, but that's a personal thing. And if that's, if you know someone who's like that, or if you're like that, the scoring app takes that away and takes that difficulty away, and that is a big relief for a lot of people. And it is available on both Android and iOS, so you can check that out. It's free. And another really cool thing to talk about with Fantasy Realms is we are getting ready to announce, and we've already solicited it, so you may know about this. We are creating an expansion for Fantasy Realms. This is something that people have been asking for a long time. It's coming out in 2021, early in the year, hopefully Q1. It will be an expansion. It will have all these extra items and other cool stuff going on, and I will definitely be talking about that more in depth on an upcoming episode of the show. So definitely tune in to check that out if you really want to learn more about the expansion for Fantasy Realms. Maybe you get somebody this gift, for the holiday, and then Fantasy Realms, the expansion, comes out. It's called The Cursed Horde. You get them that for their birthday, Valentine's Day, whatever gift holiday you want to give it. Just a Sunday, whatever you want. It's really great. We're really excited about it. I am so excited about it. I love Fantasy Realms, so I am over the moon about the expansion. So definitely look out for that. Fantasy Realms plays 3 to 6 players, as you can see right next to me. It is $19.99 MSRP, and it is available at your friendly local game store or on shop.wizkids.com right now. And as you see, the Jester card keeps popping up. The Jester card is actually a promo card that we released, so that may be a little more challenging to find, maybe not. Keep an eye out for it. But that's also something that you want to look out for if you're a completionist. But that's Fantasy Realms. Great game for beginners. Awesome for someone who, maybe wants a little more variety in their card gameplay, or someone who is interested in tabletop but the idea of a board game, maybe makes them a little intimidated. Next up, we're going to talk about Kuna. Now, Kuna is the word Kuna. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think I am. The word Kuna is Mayan, and it means divine house. And in Kuna, you are building the perfect pyramid by stacking blocks on top of one another. It's a push your luck type of game. So what players are doing is they're using their block cards that you can see up here. I'm just slightly out of frame. They're using their block cards to build the perfect pyramid by stacking lighter blocks on top of heavier blocks. And that's kind of the basic idea of what you're trying to do in the game. Now, the catch is that obviously lighter blocks have lower numbers, heavier blocks have higher numbers. The catch here is that you don't always have a lot of options for what your blocks can be, and that is because at the beginning of your turn, there are 2 blocks in front of you, and you have to take one. You can choose not to take a block, but if you choose not to take a block, you have to take a jade token, which I will explain in a second, and put that on top of one of the blocks in front of you, and then you skip your turn. And only can put heavier blocks on top of... So lighter blocks go on top of heavier blocks. However, you can choose to put heavier blocks on top of lighter blocks, but the only way you can do that is by matching up the symbols on the blocks. So each block has a different pair of animal symbols on them. Sometimes it's two of the same, sometimes it's two different ones. And one of the blocks that block... If a lighter block is going on top, if a heavier, I cannot words today, oh my god. If a heavier block is going on top of the lighter block in your pyramid, one of the symbols on the heavier block has to match the symbol on the lighter block that it's touching. So if you're putting a 25 on top of an 11 and they both have the same yellow symbol on the corner where they're touching, you can stack them on top of each other. If they don't have matching symbols, you cannot stack them on top of each other. There is a wildcard symbol, that is the jaguar, it is purple. You can also place any blocks touching that have that symbol, as that symbol is wild. So if you have a heavier block on top of a lighter block and one has the monkey symbol and the one below it has the jaguar symbol, you can place that on top of it because the jaguar symbol can act as any symbol. At the end of the game, which happens when there's no more cards that can be added to the two cards in front of you from the draw deck. The players will score out their pyramids by adding together the total number of blocks in their pyramids based on the numbers on each block. And the player with the lowest score wins. Now, remember, a few minutes ago I mentioned the jade tokens. The jade tokens actually can help you if you keep them. So you don't want to skip a lot of turns, because after you score out your pyramid, you take the number of jade tokens that you have in front of you, and you subtract that from your total score. So it could be the thing that wins the game for you if you have, 5 jade tokens and you're 5 points ahead of your opponent or 4 points ahead of your opponent in score. That can bring your score down 5 points and suddenly you win the game because, like I said, the lowest score wins. And that is Kuna. I don't know why I thought there was anything else. I'm having a day today, clearly. But I'm really excited to talk to you about these games, so maybe it's just my excitement getting the best of me. It plays 2 to 6 players. This one is great for, more creative types, people who like something that has a really strong table presence, or something, beginners obviously don't know what table presence is, but if you know somebody who has, a creative eye and likes, seeing more colorful, more exciting things going on the table because, you've seen the way they play other games, or they're an artist even, this can be a great game for them because of how visually appealing it is and how much fun it is. It's also great for people who maybe do like a little more math because they have to think mathematically strategically. It is press your luck style, so someone who has a love of that sort of they're like kind of taking risks in the things they play or the things they enjoy, this is a great game for them. And that's Kuna. It is $19.99, and it is available at your friendly local game store or online today. And next up, we have Let Her Go. And Let Her Go is I was sighing because I felt a sneeze coming on, but then it didn't. So, my apologies. See, I'm having a day, guys. Let Her Go is a real-time party word game for people who aren't into word games. So if you have a family member who has played word games in the past and has run screaming, Let Her Go is the game for them. It is much different than the average letter game. It is much more challenging. I don't know why the pictures are flashing like that. I apologize. They're just very angry or something, I guess. Don't know. But in Let Her Go, you are racing against your friends to write the words on your whiteboard using the available letter cards. So in the game, there are vowels that are in a middle pool for everybody to access, and there are also a pair of consonants in front of each player. And what players are doing is they're trying to create words using the vowels in front of everybody and using the consonants in front of all the other players, but they cannot use the consonants in front of themselves. So if you have, if the vowels available are A, U, O, and I, and, that you have C and L in front of you and you want to spell the word cola, you can't do that because you have C and L and you are not allowed to use those letters. So that's the basic kind of premise of the game, and then The other really fun thing about the game is there are rules, and the rules change every turn. So the rules can be zany, they can be simple, they can be fun. So, for example, a couple rules, there is the notary rule, where each player must write their signature on the player to their right's board. There's also the speak rule, where players have to say the letters of the words as they're writing. So, kind of just, they add a little bit of an extra twist to the game, a little bit more to remember, a little bit more to keep up with. And so players are racing to write out the words, and they grab a scoring token immediately when they finish writing their word. And then the players, who write the best words first at the end of the round, they get the score, they get the points. I cannot words today. I am so sorry. They get the score, they get the points, and then the player with the highest score at the end of the game wins. This is definitely a cute word game. It's a game that I haven't had a chance to play it, but I've heard so many good things about it, and my colleagues talk about it all the time as one of the most fun games we've released, and I will get a chance to play it. Maybe I will play it on this show so we can play it together. It'll be fun, and it sounds like a really great game. I love word games, so this is something I've been meaning to check out and haven't, but it's definitely one that you should check out, and that if you have somebody who is into, somebody who plays crossword would actually be the perfect audience for this game, because they have to use that kind of same thinking, but it's more challenging because you do have to, think about what letters you can't use as well as the letters you can use. This is also great for somebody who loves word search, or, someone who maybe is iffy about word games but likes something that's a little bit more zany, a little bit more silly. Let Her Go is the perfect option for them. And that one, of course, is $24.99. It's available at your friendly local game store and online. And I definitely recommend picking it for any of the parties that I mentioned, or just picking it up for yourself. Christmas gift for yourself. Hey, there is no problem with that. Finally, we have Kung Fu Zoo. Now, I've actually talked about a game similar to Kung Fu Zoo a few weeks ago on the same series, but I'm going to talk a little bit about Kung Fu Zoo right now because it's another one that is a great option for beginners. It's also a great family game, so it's one that it kind of fills multiple niches, and it's a really, really cool, fun game. So in the game, you control a team of animals, cheetahs, elephants, gorillas, or zebras, in a kung fu battle against your rivals. And the way you win the game is by knocking all of your opponents into cages or onto their backs. The premise is that you're in a fighting tournament in a zoo after hours, and it's so cute, it's so much fun. And the way you play the game is you're flicking dice to try and hit your opponent's dice and knock them into one of the four corners of the box that you can see kind of up here. So this is, there's kind of two ways to play. There's the cage battle version, and then there's the points battle version. So in the cage battle version, you're trying to use your animals to knock your opponents into cages or onto their backs, like I said, and the last team standing wins the round, and then whoever wins 3 rounds wins the battle. So it's much more straightforward. In points battle, your goal is to score, your goal is to score 21 points before your opponent does. And they're awarded at the end of each round based on the position of the animals left in the arena. So in that one, you're shooting for points more than just trying to get your opponents out of the way. So it's, it's kind of got two, and these are the two main variations. It's you pick one or the other when you play. A game lasts 5 rounds. So once you pick that, you're in for 5 rounds. And at the end of the game, the player with either the most points is declared the winner, or the last team standing wins. And there's, a lot to love about this game because, first of all, the art is adorable. And it's great for someone who's maybe they like more tactile experiences. They like, maybe they play sports, or maybe maybe you've got a younger friend or family member who, maybe likes climbing or something like that. This one is really great for that because it does have that tactile kind of dexterity-like element to it, and it's something that people who have that interest can really enjoy. You know, somebody who's higher energy, you know, would get a lot of love from this game. And especially the flicking elements, so it has, because you're playing right in the box, you're less likely to flick things off the table, which I know is a worry that a lot of people have about games with flicking mechanics. But in this, you're actually playing the game inside the actual bottom of the box of the game, so you're trying to flick into the four corners of the box, like I said, and that really helps kind of alleviate a lot of the worries that people have for dice flicking games, dexterity games. It's not as messy as the average dexterity game because you have the box to play inside. This is one, like I said, I definitely recommend it for maybe a younger family member, kids, someone who, you know, likes more hands-on experiences. This is a great game for them. It's adorable, it's super fun. There is some strategy there too, so someone who likes more strategic stuff can also really enjoy this. But all in all, it's just really an awesome game. Kung Fu Zoo, it's $29.99, and it is a 2 to 4 player game. Highly recommended. And that's Kung Fu Zoo. And that is our show for today. All 4 games are so great for beginners, and I really highly recommend checking them out if you can. The 4 games we mentioned, again, were Fantasy Realms. Great for someone who maybe likes card games and has played card games in the past but wants something a little more strategic, or someone who really likes strategizing. Fantasy Realms is great for them. Kuna, a great press your luck game if you have someone on your list who likes more kind of taking risks. Maybe they like game shows. It kind of feels like a game show almost, so maybe that would be a great one for them. Someone who's kind of more into math would really love Kuna as well. Let Her Go, a great word game. You know, you have a family or friend who's into, you know, maybe they're into literature, maybe they do word searches, maybe you do the crossword with them every Sunday. This is a great game to introduce them to tabletop gaming. Someone who likes more fun, silly experiences would also really love Let Her Go because of the rules mechanic. So that's absolutely something I would recommend. And then, of course, Kung Fu Zoo, a fantastic dexterity dice flicking game for the more active, higher energy person, someone who likes dexterity experiences, someone who likes tactile experiences. Great option for them. Highly recommend it. And that is the end of part 4 of our board game holiday gift guide. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you all next week with a brand new show. Who knows what it's going to be? I will tell you later this week. We will, of course, post about it so you see what's going on. And I hope that you, of course, have a wonderful and safe week and a wonderful and safe holiday season. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment on this video. Please feel free to comment or message us on Facebook or Twitter. We're happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to tune in to Mini Mayhem with V tomorrow, Wednesday at noon. She has some great stuff to show off for you as always, and I will see you all next week. Bye!